What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about this America Chavez and Eternals thing. And when we first saw the notes for Chavez and her rework, we looked at this passive and said, this could be an issue. And so far, my testing against Eternals teams on war defense, it does seem to be. We're going to talk about how you can still it's very easy to use Infinity Watch to fight against this team. But Chavez plus Eternals is going to be a big issue for a lot of players, especially people who don't have the likes of Weapon X. And if you're not going to get Dark Hunters for a while, this means having to use your Infinity Watch on this Chavez Eternals team most likely, and that's not going to be good. So we're going to talk about that in today's video. If you guys enjoy, you do enjoy the video, find it helpful or informative, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. So the big issue, the rework, was with America Chavez and her passive, and you will need the T4 on this, which creates a whole other issue that we'll be talking about in the video. But on war defense, on spawn, fill the speed bar by 25% for adjacent allies. Now, note, she does not fill her own speed bar. It is just the two adjacent allies next to her. So as soon as we saw this, we're like, okay, well, you just throw this with Icarus and Cersei on war defense, and this is going to be a nightmare. And this is something we've already been trying. I've been doing a little bit of testing tonight against some people who set them. It was one where I basically used a mirror match where I used my Eternals plus Loki, Emma, and Cable. I'm going to show footage of that. And then another one where I just end up using Infinity Watch and show how you will likely need to use Infinity Watch to fight this team. However, there's one other thing I do want to mention, and that is going to be that if you don't have a T4 on America Chavez, you can still throw her on defense, but at that point, the opponent has to assume that you have the T4 on Chavez's passive, because there's no way for you to see if they do or don't have that passive on there. So, like right here, aka Antonio threw his team on defense. He has the T4 on Chavez, but you have no way to go in and look at the Chavez. And this is going to be a thing where you can trick someone into like having to use Infinity Watch on this team, but it could end up being a waste because they don't have the passive on Chavez. So it's one of those things where this is ripe for some really, really sketchy things. And we could do another video in the future talking about how you can use Chavez with other teams and get them even better. Like, I have a feeling she's going to work great with Hydra too. Like, Hydra on war defense, like you put her between like Red Skull and Zemo, think about that kind of speed bar boost. Like, there's potential for her on several different teams that could work really well, but everyone's going to throw it on Eternals. That's the problem. Like, I can do that video, but all everyone's going to say is, yeah, well, it's that or Eternals. Everyone's going to throw on Eternals, but if I don't have the pass, I don't have the pass to T4 right now. Maybe I will before my war tomorrow. By the time you see this video, maybe I have put it. If you're fighting against me in war, you won't know until you fight me. So this is a big problem, and I brought it up, but it's getting buried under bug reports right now, so I don't know if me discussing this at some point is going to get noticed or not. But right off the bat, if this is not a T4 passive Chavez, I have no way to know without going through. Actually, no, I can't even look at the player's roster. There's no way for me to tell until I go into war if this Chavez has a T4 activated on her passive. That's big. That's a problem. But we're going to go ahead and go into battle here. So you can see I've got Zemo, Kestrel, Icarus, Cersei, and Chavez on this team. And I'm basically going to use this. And this is a slight punch down. But keep in mind, I've also got like the stupidly beefy 7 red on both Cersei and Icarus here. So, I mean, I should win this one. Like, you can see I've got very impressive red stars on them. Yay, yay, me. Whatever. That's, as we go into this fight, you're going to see that even with my Loki, Emma, and Cable on my team, I still don't get a guaranteed outspeed of those Eternals. I get 15% speed bar on Cersei with Loki and Cable, but then Emma slows down the enemy speed by 10%, but then Icarus is still 1 speed faster than Cersei. So that enemy Icarus will go first. Not 10 out of 10 times. Enemy Icarus will always move first. There we go. So yeah. By the way, we're having issues with bug crashes. So you know what? We're gonna go through this. We're gonna do this the other way. We're gonna do the footage here. I wanted to show you guys like in battle, but not gonna have it tonight. As you can see, Marvel Strike Force is having technical difficulties with the update today. A lot of crashes. Apparently people's shield medics are getting reset as well. So you know what? I pre-recorded footage. We're just gonna deal with the pre-recorded footage. So the enemy's Icarus will always go first with this team. Now, if you can find someone that speeds up my team by another like 1 or 2%, I can get my Cersei and Icarus to move first, but I don't have that here. But as you can see, eventually I'll get to move. Eventually. So now I get to move. There you go. Reduce their speed bar, and now my Icarus goes to town. Done. Okay. That's no problem. Now, the nice thing is that mirror match, like, this is the problem, though, is you're not going to be able to punch up on this. Like, if you're punching across on Cersei and Icarus with this kind of team, you're likely going to lose because, like, the enemy Icarus is going to do so much damage on his ultimate, you're probably going to lose 1 or 2 of your Eternals. At that point, the match is done. So, I'm lucky to have this as, like, 150k punch down, but you can see, when we go through the footage, I mean, that was... Yeah, I mean, look at that. Like, I got defense down on both these, but that was like, yeah, that was a significant power difference between my Icarus and his Icarus. Like, my Icarus, without the rune buffs, is about 200k power because of the 7 red, 7 yellow, and the tier 16. So if this was a punch across on an Icarus, I would probably be dead. Like, yeah, this is definitely not good. So, you know, I lose. I mean, I lose out on the speed bar difference there, so I'm always going to be at a disadvantage here. So you won't be punched up. You'll have to likely punch down with this kind of combination. But yeah, there's no way for you to get your Cersei and Icarus to now outspeed that enemy Icarus. So you have to go in. Even if, like, since you don't know if that's a T4 Chavez, you have to go in thinking that it is a T4 Chavez, and you will have to do this thing. You will have to do this kind of matchup. This is a problem, and I'm hoping I can get through to Scopely on this to be like, hey guys, this is potentially a problem, because here's other counters that are now at the door. Like my Ravagers and Eternal and not Eternals, my Ravagers and Emma counter, that's gone now. Because I was just slightly outspeeding Cersei and Icarus. That's now gone. I can't use my Ravagers and Emma combination against Eternals if Chavez is there. Now, we will likely be seeing Chavez on Young Avengers. This is probably just a placeholder thing, but it's still an issue. Like, if you're not going to be building up Young Avengers for a while, throw a T4 on the passive on Chavez, throw out like this. Maybe I'm making too much. I'm sure you guys will tell me if I'm exaggerating this or not, but I'm not feeling good about this. I had a bad feeling about this when I saw the text. So what does this mean? Well, it means you're likely going to have to use something like this. Now, I'm actually going to show you the one that has Emma on here, because I tried this first, and then I thought, well, you know what? I wonder if the Emma is slowing down my team enough so that they actually don't outspeed the Eternals here. But one of the big things with the Eternals was that both Gamora and Nebula moved before them. They lose their safeguard, so now you have this open pathway for Icarus to flip buffs on them. And the negative effects. So like that defense up on them gets flipped and defense down. But because they're so fast now, they don't get that opportunity. You are now stuck with having to ult from Icarus into Infinity Watch with Safeguard, with immunity, with defense up, and you cannot flip it. So there is a downside to them being too fast, as now it really opens the way for Infinity Watch to now counter this Eternal Chavez team. So this looks like a very strong counter. This was like 100k punch down, but really, like, just fighting it, it never really felt like I was really going to have a problem with this. I mean, I'm going to be honest, this never really felt like one I was worried too much about losing. And the other match I tried, where there wasn't an Emma, I was still able to move after the Eternals. So it wasn't like Emma slowed down my team enough. It's still the same thing. As long as you don't have someone on your team that's boosting the power, like boosting the speed on these characters, you're fine. Your Infinity Watch is going to win, no problem at all. So this does open the way for Infinity Watch to counter Eternals, at least in war defense. So it's really not that bad in terms of we actually still have a very strong hard counter. Problem is, if you are someone in war, but you don't have Weapon X, you're usually using your Infinity Watch for Heroes for Hire. Well, now we have Dark Hunters. Dark Hunters is still a ways away, probably end of the month. But when we get, no, probably early March before we get Morbius to finish off this team, because Echo just dropped today, and it's about 1.5 to 2 weeks between characters usually. So I'd say very end of February, early March is when we will likely get Morbius, and that will now fill out your Dark Hunters team, and you need Morbius to counter Heroes for Hire. So if you don't have Weapon X, and we honestly don't know when Omega Red's coming back, hopefully he comes back this month, but right now, if you're fighting against Heroes for Hire, you're basically relying on Infinity Watch. But now you have to drop Infinity Watch against these Chavez Eternals teams. So this is all sorts of screwed up. And that's what I really wanted to talk about in today's video, is just kind of show, like, yeah, Infinity Watch has no problem. We try without Emma here, with Zemo in place of Emma. Really no issue here either. I mean, Zemo moves so fast, but I've got the safeguard immunity and everything. Like, he's not able to remove anything. There you go. And actually, the two Eternals move before Zemo gets a chance, but still, no real problem. I almost lose Nebula here, but she revives, so no big deal. And because I have the defense up and the safeguard immunity, Kestrel doesn't do much. So it's one of those where, like, yeah, Infinity Watch is going to be your go-to counter most likely against this kind of team, which then means you got to have Weapon X and Dark Hunters for those Heroes for Hire teams. And honestly, I'm pretty sure Weapon X is going to be the hard counter to a Young Avengers. You're going to have Dark Hunters for Heroes for Hire. So then, like, if you see people with Chavez and Eternals, what are you going to do? But I mean, this, like I said before, this is most likely a temporary issue, because you'll be seeing Chavez with Young Avengers. So it's not a big issue right now, or it's not going to be a big issue for long, I think. But right now, like, this is busted. And if you only have Infinity Watch for Heroes for Hire counters, you're kind of screwed. So I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys agree with this? Do you think I'm way off base? Let me know down below. But as always, if you guys have enjoyed this video, you found it helpful, you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Gonna end it here with beating up the Eternals. I will see you guys next time.